get out before they found him. Then he might be able to use it again another day. As soon as there were enough children milling about near the pegs, he carefully unzipped the flap, slipped out of his bag, and slid down the wall behind all the coats. He was so silent and agile and small and bendy that no one saw him. Like a nimble ghost, he spirited his way past the empty chairs and under the tables and swiftly scurried along to his own chair, climbed onto it, and picked up his pencil. "Where can he possibly be?" wailed Miss Tuppence, beginning to sound slightly tearful. "Who is it we're looking for again?" asked a girl called Jade. "Well, Jack, of course," said Miss Tuppence, looking behind the whiteboard for the 5th time. "But he's sitting right here, miss," said Jade, pointing at Jack. Miss Tuppence stopped dead in her tracks and turned to look at him. "Jack!" she shrieked. "Where on earth have you been?" Jack didn't say anything. He just looked at her and grinned. Jack wasn't very confident about talking to people. He mostly got by with lots of nods and smiles. "Maybe you didn't notice him because he's so small," said Jade. All the other children laughed. Miss Tuppence looked at her class and then at Jack. She was sure he hadn't been there a few minutes ago, but now he definitely was, and it looked for all the world as if he'd been sitting there the whole afternoon. She wondered if she was actually going mad. "Well, how much have you written?" she asked. Jack showed her his work. He'd tried to write nothing, but all he'd written was "on to her igne." Chapter 2. Jack's Aunt Violet was always too ill or too busy to pick Jack up after school, so his spiteful cousin Kelly picked him up instead. Cousin Kelly was a lumpy teenager who was covered in spots. Her hair was scraped up into a ponytail so tight that Jack thought her face might split open at any moment. She looked like an overripe tomato, with spots. Cousin Kelly hated Jack and wasn't afraid to tell him so. "I hate you! I hate you! I hate you!" she said, putting her meanest face. Though Jack thought there wasn't much difference between her meanest face and her ordinary face. "You're ruining my life!" she screeched. "If you weren't living with us and taking up all that space in the cupboard, my mum wouldn't have to keep the hoover in my room. It's all 'cause your mum's a thief. I'm ashamed to walk down the street with you." They turned away from the school, but as soon as they were out of sight of the school gates, Kelly shouted, "Get lost! Scram! I've got much more important things to do than babysit a little squirt like you all the way home." Jack knew what more important things meant. Sitting in the coffee shop with all her girlfriends, talking about hair and nails and clothes and pop stars for hours and hours and hours. But he didn't mind walking home on his own, because he never went straight home anyway. His favourite thing to do after school was visit old Mr. Mudge at his junkyard. The junkyard was at the bottom of a little lane that led down to the canal. Jack thought the yard was a magical place. It was full of old fridges, washing machines, and broken bikes. There was a big pile of chairs that had one leg missing, and a mountain of wardrobes that didn't have any doors. There were stacks of old tyres that Jack crawled in and out of like tunnels. And in one corner of the yard, lots of old cars were heaped on top of each other. Jack liked to get inside them and pretend he was driving. But the most magical thing about the junkyard was the horses. Lightning the cart horse and Boadicea the Shetland Pony. Boadicea was an unusual name, and old Mr. Mudge taught Jack how to say it properly. Bo as in Bo Peep, D as in the letter D, C as in the North Sea, and as in you's trod in something nasty. Boadicea. He told Jack that it was the name of an ancient British queen, a fierce warrior who led an uprising against the Romans. Jack loved Boadicea, but he'd never seen any